Most humans imagine their first steps into the wider galaxy involving heroic battles, glowing energy swords, or at least a dramatic first contact beneath starlit skies. But for Captain Riley Trent, decorated explorer and survivor of 17 near-extinction scenarios on hostile worlds, humanity's grand entrance into the Galactic Assembly began not with fireworks, but with a clipboard. A very, very large clipboard. It hovered in front of them, glowing faintly, humming with bureaucratic menace. The alien attending them, a tall insectoid archivist named Vrakal, tapped the clipboard with a delicate claw. "Welcome, human Riley Trent," Vrakal said, mandibles clicking rhythmically. "Before you may register as an official member species, we must complete Form G17A. Riley blinked. "What's Form G17A?" they asked. "The application to apply for the application requesting the Galactic Registration Packet," Vrakal answered without irony. Riley sighed the sigh of someone whose species invented lines, waiting rooms, and tax offices. "Right," they said, "let's begin." The clipboard expanded into a shimmering wall of questions, each line infinitely more complicated than the last. Riley tried to read the first prompt. It said, "Declare all known physical FORMS, sub-FORMS, unstable states, and potential future evolutionary forms of your species." Riley muttered, "We barely agree on whether pineapple belongs on pizza." Vrakal leaned closer. "Is that a subspecies?" "No," Riley said quickly, "that's cultural warfare." Vrakal made a note, internal conflict subtype. Riley took a deep breath, reminding themselves why they were doing this. Earth needed allies, knowledge, trade, and most critically, a galaxy where humanity wasn't mistaken for invasive wildlife. After all, the first alien who encountered a human classified them as small but hostile, which wasn't entirely wrong. Still, Riley pressed on, tapping at the glowing interface. "Okay, next question. List all lethal environmental conditions your species can survive, including but not limited to toxins, PISSUIS, TMPITUIS, radiation, and social media." Riley paused. "Social media is considered lethal. It has resulted in neurological decay in several species," Vrakal replied calmly. "Is this not true for humans?" Riley hesitated, then reluctantly checked the box labeled moderately catastrophic. Halfway through page 1, Riley began to understand why the galaxy called humanity Deathworlders. It wasn't the claws, teeth, or venom. Humans didn't have those. It was the sheer list of things humans survived on a daily basis without noticing. UV radiation, freezing winters, scorching summers, pathogens, questionable leftovers in the fridge. Any other species dealing with such hazards would be considered mythical warriors. Riley moved to the next field. "Question 24, they read aloud. "Have you ever domesticated a creature that could kill you?" Riley checked yes, obviously. Vrakal looked alarmed. "Multiple species?" he asked. "Oh yeah," Riley said casually. "Dogs, horses, some people keep big cats, and don't get me started on geese." Vrakal recoiled slightly. "Your species is terrifying." Riley gave a tired smile. "We prefer resourceful." An hour passed, then 2, then 3. Riley filled out sections titled Environmental Madness Index, Cultural Contradictions Table, Aggression by Accident Disclaimer, Declaration of Mimetic Hazards. At one point, Riley was asked whether humans experienced spontaneous rage spikes triggered by small objects. Riley thought about Lego bricks on the floor and quietly checked yes. Finally, after completing subsection 39 of Appendix 12, Riley slumped against the nearest stasis column. "Vrakal," they groaned, "there has to be an easier way." The archivist shook their shiny head. "This is the easier way." Riley's soul briefly detached from their body before returning with a defeated sigh. Welcome to the galaxy, they thought, where the greatest enemy isn't alien warlords or asteroid storms. It's paperwork. Riley Trent had survived venomous plants, acid storms, and one particularly angry refrigerator during their early space survival training. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared them for the queue of infinite patience. The queue stretched through the galactic assembly hall like a cosmic serpent made of frustration and regret. It shimmered with holographic signage proclaiming things like form processing this way and abandon all hope ye who enter Section C. Riley stared down the line, then at Vrakal. This can't be real. Oh, it is very real, Vrakal said with a sigh. Some say the queue predates the assembly itself. Riley blinked. How long is the wait? Depends, Vrakal replied. Are you registering a new species, filing a dispute, contesting a tax penalty, or requesting an appeal for an appeal? Just species registration, Riley said, hopping that was the least painful category. Vrakal made a sympathetic clicking noise. Then the estimated wait time is 3 galactic cycles. Riley did the math. That's 92 Earth years. A small reptilian diplomat behind them hissed. Lucky, my appeal for an appeal has been processing for 7 generations. Riley tried not to panic. There has to be a fast-track option. There is, Vrakal said, but it requires Form Z99U. Where do I get that? Riley asked with sudden hope. Vrakal pointed to a door glowing ominously red. Subdepartment of Urgent Non-Urgencies. Riley stepped toward it, but a massive crab-like creature scuttled in the way, blocking the entrance with a dozen legs. It's closed for lunch, the creature growled. Riley checked the sign. It says they've been at lunch for 214 years. Yes, the creature said proudly, very long lunch. Riley pinched the bridge of their nose. A human gesture Vrakal had learned meant dangerous levels of annoyance. The archivist gently tapped Riley's elbow. Do not lose hope, human Riley. The queue is designed to test patience, endurance, and existential stability. Riley muttered, we already invented the DMV, we are immune. A giant gelatinous being in front of them trembled. What is DMV? Riley whispered, a human ritual of suffering. The gelatinous alien nodded with grave respect. You are strong species. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time behaved strangely inside bureaucratic structures. Riley watched entire diplomatic delegations lose their will to live, collapse, get revived by medbots, then collapse again when their number didn't move. At one point, a tiny avian alien cut ahead in line, flapping excitedly. A thunderous voice echoed through the hall. Queue violation detected. A swirling blue portal opened beneath the avian creature, and it vanished with a faint chirp of despair. Vrakal sighed, skipping ahead is punishable by infinite paperwork. Riley shuddered, fate worse than death. As they moved 2 steps forward, after what felt like eternity, Riley spotted something strange on the wall. A metal plate with familiar markings, human markings. Specifically, English lettering scratched into the surface. Jason was here, Earth rules. Riley froze. Vrakal, another human has been here. Vrakal tilted his head. It seems so, they must have arrived before you. Riley touched the engraving, excitement sparking through them. Who was Jason? How did he get here? And did he survive the queue? The reptilian diplomat behind them whispered. Some say a Deathworlder once escaped the line by causing a system-wide reboot. Riley's eyes widened. That sounds like something a human would do. Before Vrakal could answer, the ground rumbled. A distant alarm blared. Processing error in Section C. Initiating FORMS reassignment protocol. Everyone in the line groaned, in cosmic agony. Riley asked, what does that mean? It means, Vrakal said, voice full of dread, the entire queue is about to reshuffle. Riley watched in horror as the line reorganized itself, glowing markers shifting, platforms rotating, aliens scrambling. After the reconfiguration settled, Riley looked up at the floating number assigned to them. It had changed to 8,499,211. Riley whispered, "I had a different number before, right?" "Yes," Vrakal said softly, "your previous number was 4. Riley stared into the void. The void stared back. The void looked apologetic. Vrakal placed one delicate claw on Riley's shoulder. "Do not despair, human Riley, there is still hope." Riley looked up, desperate. "Really?" "Yes," Vrakal continued quietly, "you may still die before your turn." Riley refused to accept a fate involving waiting 90 years in line. Not when the faint trace of another human, this mysterious Jason, suggested there might be a way out. Humans were many things, but obedient Q-standers was not one of them. "Vrakal," Riley whispered, "is there any department that handles missing paperwork, lost beings, or humans who may have tried something stupid?" Vrakal's antennae twitched. "That would be the Department of Dangerous Questions." "That sounds perfect," Riley said, already stepping away from the line. "It also sounds extremely forbidden," Vrakal added, scuttling after them. "Entry is restricted to those who possess Form H-12 maybe." "Maybe," Riley repeated. "Why maybe?" "Because the form only exists intermittently," Vrakal explained. "Sometimes it appears, sometimes it does not. Asking about its status is punishable by a mandatory lecture on administrative humility." Riley grimaced. "We'll take our chances." They navigated through the assembly hall, dodging floating screens, exhausted delegates, and several small cleaning drones muttering angrily to themselves. At the end of a dim corridor, they found a faintly glowing door marked "Department of Dangerous Questions, do not enter." Riley reached for the panel. Vrakal grabbed their wrist. "We should not enter." Riley nodded thoughtfully. "So you're saying we should absolutely enter?" "No," Vrakal insisted. "I am saying we will likely be vaporized, dematerialized, or worse, reassigned to the Committee on Font Sizes." Riley shivered. "That's cruel." Ignoring all reason, they pushed the door, which opened with a long, judgmental hiss. Inside was a cavernous room filled with filing cabinets stretching into infinity. Cabinets floated, rotated, clicked, and occasionally argued with each other in binary. A holographic receptionist flickered into existence. It resembled a cube with eyes and a voice that sounded like two microwaves arguing. "Welcome, inquiry initiators," it buzzed. "State your dangerous question." Riley stepped forward. "Has another human passed through these halls, someone named Jason?" A loud alarm blared. Red warning lights pulsed overhead. Vrakal squeaked in terror. Riley, asking specific names, is classified as a Category 5 dangerous question. The cube glowed ominously, searching multidimensional records. Filing cabinets began to shake, some bursting open like startled pigeons, sending forms flapping through the air. A giant cabinet, labeled Unwise Requests, toppled over in slow motion, scattering paperwork like confetti. The cube finally spoke. "Record found." Riley's heart hammered. "So Jason was here?" "Yes," the cube answered. "Subject: Human Jason Albright, Deathworlder classification confirmed." "Status: escaped." Riley blinked. "Escaped what?" "Everything," the cube replied, glitching slightly. "Subject Jason bypassed all known administrative structures, reached the inner archive, and triggered a chain of events known as the Great Filing Collapse." Vrakal clutched his chest. "The legends are true." Riley took a shaky breath. "Where is he now?" "Unknown," the cube said. "However, a trail of administrative anomalies suggests he headed toward the restricted upper floors." "Can we get there?" Riley asked. The cube pulsed. "Access strictly prohibited. Unless you possess Form X0 who approved this." Where do we get that? Riley asked hopefully. The cube hummed, Form X0 who approved this does not exist. Riley frowned, then how do we get it? It does not exist, the cube repeated. Therefore, if you present it, you must logically have it. Riley's eyes widened, so we just claim we already have it. The cube blinked twice. Correct, please proceed. Riley grinned. I love bureaucracy. Vrukal groaned. This is how civilizations collapse. The door on the far side of the department slid open, revealing a spiral ramp disappearing upward into a swirling nebula of shimmering blue energy. A sign above it read, Upper FLOORS, trespassers will be filed. Riley stepped toward it, adrenaline surging. Riley, Vrukal whispered, are you certain about this? The upper floors are where the assembly keeps the most powerful, dangerous, and existentially confusing paperwork known to the galaxy. Riley smirked. Perfect, that's probably where Jason went. The nebula shimmered, whispering with the voices of 1,000,000 rejected applications. Riley took a deep breath and stepped onto the ramp. Vrukal followed, trembling. Deathworlders, why is it always Deathworlders?